Welcome to Total Nileation, your existential halftime. I'm your host, Nile Sige, aka Optimist Prime. How are you? I hope you're good. I hope you're doing well. I hope you are. I hope you are as lovely as this spring-ish day that's happening right now in Toronto. I say spring-ish because I don't keep track of the seasons. I know we did daylight savings time, which was outrageous. That's the first time I felt the lost hour. But yes, it's beautiful here in Toronto. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I don't know how to do the filler off the top. I know I'm supposed to update you guys on what's going on with me. I don't know that I have an exciting enough life for that though. You know, I did Breakout this past weekend, which is a super nerdy Dungeons and Dragons thing. It was super fun. I'd like to tell you about it, but I get the feeling that some of you would be like, "Wait, I want those seconds back." So you know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna fly into it. We're just gonna go. This is a podcast, in case you don't know, that delivers good news, like real good news. I'm not talking like cats playing with puppies. None of that. That's okay news. That's adorable news. That's the stuff that you watch after you've done too much scrolling. But this is actual good news, and we're just going to get into it right now. Congrats to Cambodia on being almost landmine free. So, since 1992, teams of, I'm going to assume, very brave human beings in Cambodia, or maybe just courageous human beings. Maybe they're just like me, and they're terrified, but they do the thing anyway. Good for them. Either way, they have been working to clear mines in Cambodia, and since 1992, they have gone from 3,300 square kilometers needing to be cleared to just, as of last year, 348 square kilometers that need to be cleared, that's a lot of tense moments. That is like if you just watched Hurt Locker on loop for 40 years. That is hardcore. They have cleared, as of last year, they have cleared 17,853 anti-personnel mines, 228 anti-tank mines, and this is, I mean, it's all bonkers, but this was really bonkers. 91,111 explosive remnants. I don't even know what those are. I don't know. I mean, if you're at war, you're like, I guess maybe there were bombs, unexploded bombs. 91,000. Jesus God. That is so intense. I didn't even know they made 17,000 anti-personnel mines, but there we go. They did, and they put them in Cambodia. So this cleared land now benefits, or has benefited, 10 million people. The annual deaths have gone down from 4,320 people killed by landmines, unexploded ordinance in 1996 to 49 in 2024, which is still way too high, but that is almost 1,000 times less. So, yeah. So now I'm guessing, I do not know this as well. This was part of the marking of Landmine Awareness Day, which this is, I guess that really speaks to the privilege of where I grew up, because I did not know there was a Landmine Awareness Day, because I never needed to have a Landmine Awareness Day. So hopefully, at their current pace, it'd be nice, maybe at least in Cambodia they don't have it. It's just, February 24th, they're just like, we're going to lean into Black History Month. They're going to do that. Just be like one extra day of Black History Month in Cambodia, which is, probably pretty exciting, I guess. And I hope all of those brave, courageous people get to retire very soon and sit around and just not disarm deadly devices. What else? Arizona. So this one, I'm not usually big on including news from the U.S. I don't know why. I guess just because I feel like the U.S. is a bit of a bit of a ball hog in terms of news. But this one I included because it kind of contradicted some of my own stereotypes. So, I'll get me. I'll dunk on myself if need be. So, a county judge in Mariposa County, I believe, in Arizona, struck down its 15-week abortion ban ruling, ruling that it was unconstitutional following the passing of Proposition 139, which enshrined abortion rights in the state constitution. So what that means is now this ban cannot be enforced, and the doctors who violate it will not see prison time. Proposition 1, I don't know why, sorry, I slurred that, but we're going to keep it in. You know what? Because I am a person who makes mistakes. Proposition 139 passed with 62% support. So that is pretty much the entire reason I put that in. Because are you like me? Are you like, you sort of paint certain parts of the world in one big red brush? And if you had told me how people in Arizona felt about abortion, I would have some thoughts. And none of them would be close to 62% supporting abortion rights. So apologies to Arizona? No, wait, Arizona went red. No, I'm not going to apologize. You still got a lot to do before you sniff an apology from me. I'm sure they're just waiting with bated breath. Also, moving on, an Australian man managed to live 100 days with a completely artificial heart. I just say that out loud and I just realized, I understand what they were saying was it's an artificial heart, and they just put it in him while he was waiting for a heart transplant. And he went 100 days, but it kind of, the way they say it, the totally artificial heart implies that they have some bionic heart, which I guess they do. That's a pacemaker, I guess. It just doesn't sound as cool as what I'm picturing. I'm thinking like half heart, half piston. I don't know cars. I don't know engines. Why am I talking? So this dude, on November 22nd, there's a man who did not want to be identified, which I thought was interesting. I guess maybe he didn't want any more, people contacting him and maybe giving him a bit of a scare. On November 22nd, this individual received an implanted bivacor, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, heart, which was a completely artificial heart, as I have mentioned. Now, so up until then, some people had managed to survive on artificial hearts. The longest was 27 days. This guy, I don't know, there's a lot to unpack here. This guy not only went 100 days, but he was the first guy to leave the hospital. Normally, the procedure, from what I understand, is you get this artificial heart and they're like, stick around, because we put it in and we don't feel good about it. So just hang out and just let us know if your arm starts to go numb. But this guy was like, nah, it's so Australian. Like, speaking of generalization and stereotypes, so probably just left the hospital and was like, let's put some miles on this thing and just boxed a kangaroo or something. Did you guys hear the hesitation as I thought about doing an Australian accent and then realized my limitations and pulled it back? Because I was like, it's not gonna be much of a moment, but if I do try to do an Australian accent, it will ruin what moment there is. So I didn't. Just left the hospital. Was this guy, I don't know, was he, part of me wonders if he's one of those, there's some people who are just you can't tell. You're like, are you Zen or are you dumb? Do you know what I mean? They're so the uncarved block. They can just compartmentalize everything. They just accept facts of life as they come, that you're like, wow, you're so Zen. Or you look at them and you're like, I don't know if you fully understand the implications. There's some people are like that. But this guy clearly was like that. He's like, nah, I got stuff to do. I'm going to go. Just going to leave. And he did. And he went for 100 days and then he got a heart transplant. Just good for him. Wow. bonkers. So this is going back to the crux. Holy ADHD. Going back to the important thing is that this is really promising because obviously heart failure affects a lot of people, 23 million people, but only 6,000 get a transplant. That is brutal. So, and these might be Australian numbers, by the way. I got this from an Australian article, which I've linked in the show notes. But the implications are really good. We're still far off, but like, it does not seem impossible, at least to me, that someday we're just, walking around. And then if you got a bum ticker, it's like, okay, do you want they're coming out like iPhones? Oh no. It's, oh yeah, you gotta get the upgrade. Why? This heart works fine. Yeah, but I mean the camera shit. Wait, you put a camera on my heart? Why? I like the story for two reasons. One, I think it's great. I think it's great news. It's inspiring. And two, I know probably someone who might hear this will be like, well, wait a minute. If we're going to have artificial hearts in 10 years, fuck dieting. They're just going to eat nothing but lard, just lard on general principle. Moving on. A banner year for U.S. solar energy. Here's a little quick sidebar. It's not going to be a quick sidebar. I have ADHD. Maybe you can listen to this at times 2 speed, and it'll sound. No, it won't sound less. It won't sound more coherent. It'll just sound faster. Point is, I was prepping the show, and I'm like, do I want to include more stuff about renewable energy and about climate change? I feel like I hit that one a lot. And I thought to myself, wait, are you out of your... Yeah, obviously you want to put more climate change stuff because we get a lot of bad news about climate change. No one in, CNN's production meeting being like, are we hitting this too much? Are we delivering too much bad news? So fuck it. Here we go. We're going back to the renewables. There's a lot. There is always a lot. We are on a renewables rampage as a species. So it's looking to be like another banner year for solar power in the U.S. Not so much for wind. Some of that is your boy Trump. But solar will account for half of new power capacity. And just as importantly, the U.S. will be retiring twice as many coal plants this year as it did last year, thanks in part to the rapid build out of solar. I think I've touched on this in a previous episode, that it's looking very promising for renewables as new power capacity in the U.S. in 2025. But like the extra good news on that is that not only are coal plants going offline, but the ones that are remaining are just producing less power, and just the price of coal is going up as a consequence of all of this mess, which means there are coal plants are even less efficient, less profitable. And we all know how capitalism works. Not well. Well, not well for most of us. The point is, the Energy Information Administration says that coal might be huge in U.S. politics, but it's as an actual source of power, it is shrinking, and the trend, they have described it as irreversible. So, hooray. Semi-related to this, China, as I've mentioned before, but it's just, China is really coming to eat our lunch when it comes to clean energy. They're going hard on it. Congrats to them. They are now the leader in renewable energy in the world. That is great. They will reach 1,200 gigawatts of renewable energy this year, which is something they had targeted for 2030. So again, I've touched on this before. We come in with our estimates, good cautious estimates. Always good to, prepare for the worst, but also good to expect the best, which is pretty close in this case. So at its current pace, China would be on pace to install 3,900 gigawatts. I'm going to round that up to 4,000 of renewable energy by 2030. Had to cough there. Now, this is important because the Paris Climate Agreement set a goal for 11,000 gigawatts of renewables by 2030. So that just means that the rest of the world, the rest of the entire world, just has to install 6,000 gigawatts of renewable energy by 2030, and that's one of our goals met. You know, just check that off, and then we can go get ourselves a boba tea as a little reward. And also, this is not counting the effect that China's advancements in renewables are going to have across the world as countries buy the cheap renewable technology from China, right? So China figures out renewable energy technology and then is like, well, yeah, you guys can have it. Well, not have it. They're going to sell it. They're not completely altruistic. Now, China does have to fix its grid inefficiencies, but it's looking to do this. And again, I feel like that's just going to be a replication of what I just talked about, right? So basically, they'll figure it out. And then once they pull that off, they will sell that technology to other countries. And that will have a domino effect of other countries being able to fix their grids and come up with renewable solutions for way cheap. So China is most likely going to produce, I'm going to call it 4,000 gigawatts of renewable energy by 2030. And they're going to get like an assist on probably a few thousand other gigawatts of renewable energy. So damn. This one, okay. This one is so okay, look, we all know there's some stuff going on in the news. We all know that if it's very loud and scary sounding, possibly scary, but at the very least scary sounding. So it's eating up a lot of oxygen, in the room. I think that is why, like, so many, this is going to be the second time now where I'm going to tell you a little factoid, a little story, where in my head I'm like, I feel that should have gotten way more coverage. That feels way bigger. I think last episode or episode 9, I mentioned, I can't remember his name, the Korean scientist who had managed to reverse a cancer cell as it was shifting to becoming cancerous, which I thought and still think is a bonkers huge story that most people don't know about. If I'm going to be real, I feel like I'm being gaslit a little. I had to double check. I double Googled it because I'm like, okay, wait, no one is talking about this. Is it real? Or did I just maybe I went crazy? Maybe all of the Trump stuff broke me. And now I'm in a corner somewhere just imagining all of this good news. It's very possible. No, not very possible. Anyways, this is my point. This one is a banger, kids. So researchers at the University of Texas at Austin, pardon me, University of Texas, U of T, the other U of T, they have developed a scalable, eco-friendly way of turning biomass like food scraps, branches, seashells into sorbents that can absorb water from the air and then release it with very little heat. Here we go. I'm going to try to do this name. I'm going to try. Weixin, so Weixin Guan, a PhD candidate. That's my favorite. That's my other favorite part about this, is that he's a PhD candidate. So his solving the clean water possible calamity of the future is just his side hustle. It's just nuts. He's got bored. He's like, well, I wonder if I can fix the whole problem of access to clean water. It wasn't just him. There's obviously a few other researchers, but I just thought it was funny that he's got something else going on, because of course he does. It's America. You can't just fix access to clean water. You also have to have a fallback plan. Okay. So, doctor, I'm going to go ahead and call him doctor. I think I think Dr. Guan's gonna get his PhD, uh, especially after this story. I feel like my whole defense of my thesis would be me standing at the table like, bruh. Anyways, he says that clean water, specifically, I should say, access to clean water should be simple, scalable, and sustainable. And this is all of those things. It is bonkers because it could reshape global water security in a very good way, if I wasn't being cleared there. So basically, what this does is it is a process that turns the biomass that I mentioned into a sorbent. So basically, it just like sucks in water from the air, and then with very little heat, you can just heat it up and just extract the water. This would provide 14.19, let's just go ahead and round that up to 14.2 liters per kilogram per day, and could be used for off-the-grid communities, disaster relief, sustainable farming by providing self-sustaining irrigation in arid areas. Like, are you getting what this is? This is, I really, listen, I'm a comic podcaster, right? What do I know? But I'm not an idiot. I feel like this is big. I feel like this is like a Nobel Prize, but more. You need something more. So this is a super high water yield. It doesn't use a lot of energy or fossil fuels as the other systems do. And this part, okay, they are working on real world applications, which means that widespread use could be imminent. What the fuck? What the fuck? Guys, I just the implications of that. The water security? Am I wrong? That's big, right? That's a big thing. We were freaking out about that. Canadians every now and then were like, are people going to come steal our water? Because we apparently have a lot of lakes. Of course we do. But this feels like a bit of a game changer. So I hope that offsets the aftertaste of doom scrolling, if you're into that, which I think you might be. Moving on, congratulations to Zimbabwe on all the progress they've made on child health. Zimbabwe has made huge strides in reducing child mortality rates in the past 15 years, which, by the way, child mortality, huge marker of how well your country is doing overall. Health and Child Care Minister Dr. Douglas Mombeshora. Fuck, no, I fucked that up. Mombehsora. I feel like that ES situation, I'm mispronouncing that. I feel like, yeah, anyways, Mombeshora said that vaccines in Zimbabwe save about 6 lives per minute. If you crunch the numbers overall, like, it's a cool way to say it saves a lot of people. That's partly why I included it. So he was very clever to phrase it like that. Since 2008, the under 5 child mortality rates, obviously it's a child mortality. There are very few under 5 adults. Well, I suppose mentally. Since 2008, that rate has dropped from a very dark 93.33 out of every 1,000 to a still pretty dark but way improved 47.73 out of 1,000. So congrats to Zimbabwe. Moving on, this next one, I leave little notes for myself. This one is called, all caps, lasers, exclamation mark. Because it involves the use of lasers, and apparently I'm one of those adult under 5s. So an engineer by the name of, I gotta prep these names. Mahesh Krishnaswamy. Well, that's not so hard. Krishnaswamy. I got in my head about it. You know what? I think it's Mumbes, the last guy, Dr. Mombesora. He got into my head. I got the case of the yips. I got the case of the name yips. So yes, an engineer, Mahesh Krishnaswamy. Yeah, that was it. Created a company called Tara, Taara. So maybe I'm mispronouncing that. That would be hilarious. That's the one thing I shank. So this had the goal of using light instead of radio waves for internet connectivity They've tested it. He's been developing it. His company's been like, putting it out into the world, and it provided a big win in Kinshasa, where they managed to reduce the cost of internet fivefold, which is very nice. I like this part of the story. He got the idea when, as a student, he was visiting home, Chennai, India, and he had to go to the American embassy to get internet access. And he was like, this is some bullshit. And he decided he wanted to work on figuring out a way to provide internet access to as many communities as possible, the communities who don't have internet access. So he says that they should be able to deliver 10 to 100 times more bandwidth than Starlink at a fraction of the cost without satellites. So suck on that, Elon. Also, this is good news because apparently now this is his take. I have no science backing on this. You might be shocked to discover that I am not a scientist, but he says that apparently this is a good way to go, pivoting to light, because he thinks that 6G, there's a ceiling in terms of how efficient radio wave based internet can be. So yeah, there's that. Moving on to Sub-Saharan power access increases. So in the past 5 years, over 96 million households in Sub-Saharan Africa have gained access to electricity. That's the one word that I shank. Anyways, Liberia has seen access go from 5% in 2017 to 35% today, which is, how many? That's not even 10 years, right? Obviously, that's not 10 years now. Come on now. It's 8 years still. From 5 to 35, that's great. Rwanda has gone from 6% in 2009 to 75% today. And if they get to 100%, including internet access, that might be a problem for me because I got people back there, and I don't know if I want them to see this. Nigeria is now at 70%, up from 50% a decade ago. So that's, interesting. I don't know what Nigeria did, but oh yeah, Nigeria. I know what Nigeria did. It's coming up in my show notes. Gabon. I was able to say it earlier. And Equatorial Guinea have reached 90%. And Rwanda, Senegal, and Kenya are all targeting universal access by 2030. Nigeria, this is the Nigeria part, has a solar initiative called Naija, Naija, and that aims to provide power for 5 million people. And they also just basically in general, a lot of the countries are making improvements to their power grids with an emphasis on regional cooperation. So that's going to probably lead to energy trading, which is going to make life a lot better for more people. And at the current rate, Sub-Saharan Africa could have universal access within 2 decades. Now, that's what the article says. I'm going to step in here, me and my great knowledge base. It's not a great knowledge base, but I think it's from what I mentioned in the last episode, we really tend to undershoot or to underestimate how much progress we're going to make, right? Like last episode, I talked about how in 2005, everyone thought solar was going to be niche. We were never going to see electric vehicles. There's a documentary called Who Killed the Electric Car? They thought that they would reach, I think it was 100 gigawatts, at least in the US, by 2012. They ended up by 2025, but they reached it by 2012. And by 2023, they had reached 1,200 gigawatts. So I feel like if these are estimates, if the estimate is universal within the next 2 decades, with everything that's going on, all the stuff that I just talked about earlier with China and even the US and everybody else, I feel like, history never feels like history when you're living it. But I feel like we're going to look back and be like, this was it. This was the turning point. And I don't think it's going to be the bad turning point. I think this is a good turning point. I think we are knee deep in renewables. It's the beginning of the end for fossil fuels and non-renewables. Like this is, oh guys, this is the beginning of the Star Trek times. This is the beginning of the Star Trek times. Calm down. I know a lot of you got excited and a lot of you wanted to ask about the holodeck, and that's not why we're here. The holodeck is just the salsa. It is extra. It's not the point. You fucking pervs. And this is the whole thing about electricity. I really wanna build this out, like walk this out. When I talk about universal access within a short span of time for Sub-Saharan Africa and probably a lot of other regions in the world, it's really important because just the benefits of access to electricity are game changing. Okay, because you got the reduction of manual labor, especially for women, which then leads to a little more freedom for women, God forbid, and for people in general. You have better and safer working conditions, health improvements, right? Water, refrigeration, sanitation, all of those. These are all like all of these, just those first three. Like, there's a lot of lives saved and a lot of people who are going to be able to just be a little more, I don't know what the word is, man, but it's going to be good. It's going to be good. I don't know what's happening in my brain, but I think this is very promising. There will be increased productivity and the rise of new industries and innovations because the lights are on. So now I can maybe spend a little time in the evenings banging out some ideas. Better schools with access to information. You're able to study at night now because you don't have some solar powered flashlight or a candle or I don't know. Food security, right? With irrigation, refrigeration. It's going to improve yields, reduce famine, reduce food waste with the preservation. It's going to increase health, just modern hospitals, x-rays, sterilization, refrigeration of medicines, which again, huge reduction in mortality rates. All of this is just going to keep adding up. This one I'm very much looking forward to. Art and culture. I want to see all of the films, assuming we're still doing films or television, which maybe we're not. Maybe Sub-Saharan Africa will just get to skip over that. Just be like, yeah, we're not doing that. We're just going straight to TikTok. I'm aware there is an industry down there, but you know what I mean? I mean, like Oscar stuff. That'll be fun. Maybe I can go work down there because it's a little dry up here. Of course, there's also the ecological impact to consider, right? Way less deforestation, for example. You don't have to burn now. You can just turn on a light. So just really let that one sink in, guys. I think that's this episode has been a lot of sneaky big ones, which sounded way more sexual than I intended. That is not, or maybe that's just me and my perv brain. But yeah, just the electricity, the guy who seems to have solved access to clean water for the planet. Like, you know what? Email me if you think I'm overstating that, or if there's something I missed. Totalnihilation@gmail.com. That seems insane to me. That seems just beyond insane. That is like the positive equivalent. It's a positive equivalent of like Trump getting elected. I know you're thinking, no, Trump getting elected is the worst and it's the beginning of the end. It's bad, but this is we're talking fucking access to water. Accessible access to clean water for the planet. Game, set, match. Okay. So we're going to move on to a little section. I don't have my names for the sections yet, guys. If you have any ideas, feel free to let me know. But here's a little part where it's just like things that I've found that help. This one, I can't remember where I got this one. So I apologize to whoever or wherever I read it or whatever. This person said they like to start their day with a note of thanks. So basically you email someone or you text someone, call someone, speak to someone in their face like it's 1997. And you say, hey, Thanks for blah, 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 blah. And then automatically, especially if you do it right out of the gate, it puts you in this grateful, wow, I'm lucky that happened headspace. And it just, I've done it a few times. It's a good, I should do it every day, man. What am I talking about? I think I just, I got to the point where there was too many things to start my day, to the point where I'm like, okay, it's an hour just to warm up the car and get going. So that's something that I found is just a nice little flavor for your day. This is a science-backed tip is the next one. Again, not sure where I read this one, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to start taking better notes. You deserve better. You deserve better. But I read another idea is to prime yourself in the morning. So basically, if you look ahead at your day, which is always a good idea, because then you can be like, oh, fuck, I got that. That says a lot about how I look at my days. Oh, fuck. But you'll say, oh, I have a presentation this afternoon at 3. And you just get a little notepad, a little journal, and you write out why you are well suited for that project, why you're probably going to do well. Just like I'm good, I'm dynamic, I'm eloquent, whatever. And that will get you in a good headspace. Basically, you're just like giving yourself a little pregame coaching pep talk. And so, yeah, I think that's about it. I had some other stuff that I was gonna. No, I'll sneak it in. I was thinking about the economy, as some of us are, and it just seems odd to me. Like, why is the economy not? So one thing that's not democratic. Hear me out. So this past summer, I went up to a friend's cottage. This means a bunch of friends from high school. And so I'm coming in from Toronto, and they were all in the Montreal, Ottawa area. So it was relatively close. And we decided, possibly because they also knew that I'm the one who's done not the best in terms of like straight cash. I'm probably the one, they're like engineers. They're doing very well. So they were like, all right, Nile can just pay for his flight. Mark, we're going to use his cottage. So that's his contribution. Jerry got the food. I think Jerry and Kevin got the food. I'm naming all these names you don't know. Anyways, and Eric got the booze. The point is, we were all cool with that. It was not at all fair. I'm sure, obviously I paid the least. And you could argue, oh, well, so-and-so's contribution was not as much. So but like, we were all cool with that. It was just, we were all fine. Why? Why does the economy in general not work like that? Why don't we get a chance? So here's the thing. Here's my pitch. It doesn't really address what I just said. Because I'm not spiking the landing on this podcast. You're just going to have to deal with it. We'll get there. Oh, one day this is going to be just a flawless, just soup to nuts, very, very tight, overproduced show. And I'll have loads of money and just a dead-eye laugh. I don't know why I went there, but here's my pitch. I think we should have a lottery, okay? We have a lottery. We'll start in Canada. Why not? Because we're here. What we do is we go through the taxes and we just rank them by order of who has the most to who has the least, yes? And then we just give them a numerical value. I'm sure people on the bottom, there's a bunch of people who have 0. But that's not the point. The point is we'll just number everybody. And then we have a lottery. So, and then you separate it, by the way. You have like the top 1% in the country, all of the billionaires, basically. And then you have all of the really, really people living in extreme poverty. And then you have a lottery. And whoever wins, basically you have one billionaire who has to switch economic situations with someone living in extreme poverty. It's not all the billionaires. We don't need all the billionaires. We just need one. I feel like if you had that, if you said we're doing this at the end of the year, I feel you would get some nice nice changes in the economy very quickly because no one wants to lose and or win that lottery. Every billionaire would be like, okay, I got to look out for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sprinkle the bottom half of the country with a few $1 billion so that if I land there, I'll be okay. Huh? Huh? I think I just fixed it. I think I'm like that guy from the University of Texas at Austin. I just fixed the economy. So take that, Dr. Guan. Guys, that's it. That's it. That's the episode. Thanks so much for listening. If you liked it, please rate, review, tell your friends. If you can find me on all of the socials. No, that's not true. I'm basically on Blue Sky and Instagram now, at Nile Sige. I'm on other stuff, but I really don't visit there anymore, especially Twitter. Twitter's like a rough neighborhood you used to live in, then you just left and it's gotten worse. If you enjoy other existential chasing podcasts, and you also enjoy Dungeons and Dragons, I have another podcast coming out next week, Comedians in Dungeons Getting Dragons, which is where I DM a bunch of hilarious comedians in Dungeons and Dragons, and it's a fun time. If you are flush and or you just feel like throwing loads of cash at me, because how could you not? I have a Buy Me a Coffee page, which is linked in the show notes. Again, as I mentioned before, if you have any thoughts, questions, if you have some good news you want to share, email me at totalnileation, that's TOTALNILEATION @gmail.com. And that's it, guys. If you can't be a shining example, be a terrifying warning. Let's get it on 3, everybody. 1, 2, 3.